No news is good news, so when a doctor calls your house, it's not because he's lonely and needs someone to talk to. So when I see urology associates on my phone, my sphincter automatically twists into a Wetzel's pretzel. Hi, Dr. Gelbard, I say. Hi, Stephen, he says. So what's up, I say. Hi, Stephen, he repeats, for whatever reason. It looks like we found something, Stephen. I'm hoping it's my keys, I joke, trying my best to keep it light and fluffy. Of course I know it's not my keys. I would never leave them on the exam table next to the instruments that jammed up my ass to yank out samples of my prostate. Stephen, there appears to be some cancer cells on 2 of your biopsies, he says. First time ever you guys are seeing this. No shit. So give it to me straight, Doc. How long do I got? Nothing, not even a chuckle. Obviously, Doc is no big fan of old cowboy movies. My humor dies on the vine. Chosen last on a Little League team or being dumped by a bazillion girls, always had a one-liner attached. There was always someone around to laugh at my feeble attempts to fortify my dignity. No more. Maybe this was my true death, I thought. No one to laugh at my jokes. The news shouldn't have come as a total surprise. I mean, after all, prostate cancer runs rapid in my family. My grandfather, father, uncles, and aunts. Not aunts. They don't have prostates. Except for my Aunt Helen, who I swear looked exactly like my Uncle Barney. Unfortunately for me, they all died from it, which probably also makes it unfortunate for them. I certainly don't mean to make light of it, especially when it comes to my dad. He was a great guy and died not so much older than I am right now, which doesn't exactly bode well for a kid who was always called a chip off the old block. But in my mind, I'm not like my relatives. I exercise on a daily basis and eat my share of fruits and vegetables. And judging by my weight, I probably even eat your shares as well. In fact, the way I see it, I spend $10,000 a month at Whole Foods. That should count for something. And what about picking a god-awful $20 beet and kale salad at Cafe Gratitude and still being required to leave a tip? So, Stephen, it might be best if we set up an appointment to discuss our options. Doc says, probably believing he's actually talking to a rational person. Our options, I think to myself, what, are you fucking kidding me? It's me who you've labeled having cancer, not we, dickwad. I know I sound like a total asshole, but that's how I get when I'm really scared. I pretend I don't give a shit, but I do. I have kids, for Christ's sake. And the last thing they need to hear is that their dad has what my dad had, and we all know how well that turned out. So who's going to take care of my dogs, I wonder? And my girlfriend, who's she going to sleep with after I don't even want to think of that one. So Stephen, how about I consult with our surgeon to see what he recommends? But still in asshole mode, I blurt out, he's a surgeon, for fuck's sake. What do you think he's going to recommend? Then I think, shut the fuck up. I mean, the last thing I need, other than to die, is to piss off a doctor who's on first-name basis with my rectum. Sure, sounds like a good idea, I say instead, sounding exactly like a fucking Stepford wife. Now I'm picturing the word cancer, spelling it out in my head. I'm even writing out on a notepad next to my phone, in cursive no less. But no matter how pretty I make it, it still spells out a very ugly word. I hate the word. I hate how it sounds, and I hate that it's now being stuck on me. I immediately think about telling my kids the bad news. I picture their faces. I practice the words. Should I be sitting down or standing up? Sitting up or standing down? Should it be in the living room or in the kitchen? And what should I wear? I could go casual in my old sweats and t-shirt. Or maybe more formal to fit the occasion. Fuck me, I can't stop thinking. And what about my daughter? She lives in San Francisco, so it'll have to be by phone. Are you fucking kidding me? Who tells their daughter they have cancer on a fucking phone? And I'm not about to fly up there. I mean, the minute I'd step off the plane, she'd know something was wrong. I'd start to cry, she'd start to cry, and we wouldn't have yet even said a word. So I finally decided on a more rational approach. Nothing. Nada. For a whole fucking week, I say absolutely nothing. But I do spend a lot of time in bed with a pillow over my face, thinking of a million ways to tell my kids. I also hit up Whole Foods on a daily basis for bushels of kale, hoping that green shit will make a difference. Next thing I know, I'm sitting face to face with the so-called best surgeon in the world. Of course, everyone always claims to have the best surgeon, right? I mean, I've never once heard anyone say, hey, try mine, he's totally average. I also can't help but wonder if best surgeon in LA also includes the Valley, because I happen to live in the heart of Sherman Oaks. So of course I want Sherman Oaks included in that survey. Anyhow, I sit there bobbing my head like a stupid fucking bobblehead doll while the best surgeon in LA, probably not including the Valley, drones on about my disease. It really doesn't matter what this guy is saying anyhow, because all I hear is dead man walking. Now I'm absolutely positive there's no way in hell that I'm going to tell my kids I have the big C. You see, my son Josh was just about to leave for the University of Iowa for a 5-year PhD program, and Casey was just weeks away from starting her own graduate program up north. But my sister, God bless her soul, voted against that idea. Your kids love you too much to be left in the dark, she said. And if I were them, I'd be furious at not being told the truth. I always hate it when a younger sister knows more than an older brother, but she was right, of course. So after stalling for another 7 days, I finally got up the nerve to invite my son over for dinner. That's my son. Josh, I need to tell you something, I mutter, in a voice much weaker than I had practiced. My kid's not an idiot. He immediately blanches chalk white, which means he's on high alert. I swallow the sour taste of bile and blurt out, I've got cancer. My son gets cold stone quiet when he's afraid, so this time he gets really, really quiet. Are you scared? I finally have to ask when he utters not a sound. Sure, I'm afraid, he finally whispers, fighting back his tears. I planned on you being around forever. I want more than anything to say something clever to break his sadness with one of my always off-the-wall one-liners, but nothing comes. So we just hug and kiss like we always do, but this time he hangs on for much longer than usual. Next, I call my daughter. That's my daughter. After the usual perky, hi, how you doing, I jump in with, honey, I need to tell you something. Then I pause to try to gulp down some courage. My doctor just found a few cancer cells on my... What cancer cells? How many? How big are they? Well, I need to find out. Why didn't you call me sooner? It's curable, right? Honey, please, slow down and let me explain. That's exactly how my daughter gets when she's afraid. She rattles off a billion questions before ever taking a breath. Finally, after a long pause, she squeezes out, geez, Daddo. And that was it. She couldn't finish her sentence. I hear sobs, the kind you try to swallow down but can't. Then finally, when her crying subsides, she squeaks out in 10 octaves higher than usual, you know how much I love you, right? Of course, I answer, I love you too, sweetie. And then I hang up, and then it was my turn to cry. It's not like I've never seen my kids sad before, because I have 1,000,000 times. But this was different. It wasn't like crying over spilled milk, a lost toy, or a pain-filled breakup. It was crying about me. And I was crying not in the usual, oh, poor me, but because for the first time in my life, I imagined not being there for them. That was a killer, much worse than any fucking disease. So yes, I have cancer, and yes, in 3 days, I expect my penis to fall off. At least that's what WebMD had to say. Of course, they also said I might be pregnant. Which is exactly why, at least in my case, that TMI can be really fucking dangerous. But the good news is that I don't really have the big C, not even the medium C. more like the baby C. In fact, I've since learned that my type of cancer is extremely slow growing, which means that most likely, according to the best surgeon in LA, but probably not the Valley, I'll die with prostate cancer rather than from it. So who knows, maybe that green shit really works. That's not me. Now, normally I should be ecstatic, right? And I am. For the most part I am, except, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, except for the fact that there's just a smidgen of disappointment in this diagnosis. You see, now I have to tell people my cancer isn't exactly life-threatening. I don't know, maybe it's a Hollywood thing, because in my mind, slow growing doesn't quite have the same pop as, let's say, imminent death. I mean, I'm not close to dying, then what's the big deal? I know it sounds petty, but I was kind of liking all that attention. Now I can't even call myself a cancer survivor, because all I'm really doing is just living with it. So the best I've got is cancer liver. BFD. I mean, what's that? So I sort of feel ripped off, like now there's no chance in hell people will ever want to wear yellow t-shirts with my name embossed next to a pink ribbon. Okay, so what's the treatment plan for my type of cancer? It's called active surveillance. I go in every 3 months for a PSA test that measures whatever the hell PSA stands for. Unfortunately, last month's results weren't that great. My PSA actually shot up a couple of points. So who knows where I'll end up? I might seesaw up and down for the next 100 years, or maybe eventually have to face surgery. But you know what? I've got 2 great kids, a never imagined in my wildest dreams beautiful girlfriend, a wonderful sister, and 2 pain-in-the-ass old dogs who love me for better or for worse, and in sickness and in health. So whatever happens, I'll be just fine. And if I'm totally honest, which I never intend to be, I'd have to admit that I actually consider myself a pretty lucky guy. Oh, and just in case you're looking for a prostate surgeon, come see me after the show. I've got a doctor that's totally average.